Welcome back to Judging Bouncing Balls. Toby, how are you doing?
We're good. We're real good. We another
Good.
week in the books of life, sports.
Hey, if we're above ground, it's a good day, right? That's you got to take some. There's always things you can complain about, as we know, but it's good to be
One
alive.
thing we're good at. Yeah, yeah. No, it's weather's nice, We're gonna get some rain tonight. And
Yeah, we
watch
actually got some
Disney
rain.
World away.
Yeah, much needed rain the other day. We haven't had a good like full day of rain, and we actually got that, and instantly things are turning green. So yeah, that was good. School's getting close. I'm a week away this Friday from going back to school, so gonna get after it.
So
It's gonna be good.
you as a teacher have to be back on the 25th,
25th,
full time.
full time, baby. Let's do it. Let's get her done.
That makes me so happy. Not because, but I think our house runs better with a routine. And I think Jackie goes back on the 28th. She's been she went in today for a couple hours, and she's been like next week like
Yeah.
3 4 days. But I think they start up the 28th. So and then the kids on the 7th,
Yep.
freshman on the 6th, upperclassmen on the 7th. So that's gonna be a glorious day. That's the day I drive to work with a giggle. It's back. We're back.
It's funny. I told Sarah today, I'm like, man, I have been so busy today, and it seems like every day I've got like the first 4 or 5 hours. I get up right away when she's actually going back to work already, and I'm doing stuff. And I told her, I'm like as busy as I'm gonna be during the school year. I said, I don't know what I'm gonna do when the school year starts, because and she's like, Evil, you're an idiot. You take on all this stuff. She's like, you're doing a podcast. I got another thing about a podcast I got to tell you about. Doing a podcast, doing coaching, doing the ice cream stuff. I had to send out invoices for like a couple hours, answering emails. I'm like, I don't know why I just can't sit and relax. I just can't do it. I don't know. I think you're like me. I can't just sit around. Got to do something.
Oh, I could sit around with the best of them. I'm okay. I but it's in the school year. My wife gets up at like 5:30 in the morning, so I get up at 5:30 in the morning
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
because every light's on and the noise and everything. So you just but that's routine. Right now it's I'm all over the board. I'm a 6:15 one. Like today I was like 6:45, and I'm like, I should probably get up.
yeah.
And I'll still complain about 5:30, but it let's go to bed
Yeah.
earlier.
The reason I laughed there for a second, have you seen the TikTok? I think it's a TikTok, or a reel or whatever, where it like shows the husband gets up and it says husband when he wakes up in the morning. He's like creeping around everything. It's like wife when she wakes up, bam, bam, banging on pots and slamming doors. That one makes me laugh because it's
So
sad too.
true. It's otherwise, like, can't we just keep her down? And she's like, what? And I'm like, every light's on. I'm like,
Uh, I love it.
like
That's
even when I
awesome.
get up in the middle of the night to maybe use the restroom, I'm like feeling the walls in the dark. I mean, if anybody was ever standing there, I'm dead. Then you could stab me. I wouldn't know it.
Yeah, I'm with you. There was actually once, to give you an example on that, I went to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, and we had our old house had, that type of texture on your wall where it's like sand in the wall. So it's kind of gritty. I was like half asleep. I walked right into the wall, and I had this big abrasion on my forehead. It was awesome. So I know what you mean. I've been there.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
No, they've got it well. They've got it all right. They get everything.
you got to take care of them.
Us.
All
Yeah,
right.
so that'll be good. Tennis season kicked off this week at the Bayport all high school tennis. We got rained out on Monday, but
Okay.
that good rain. But we played Shawano, Marshfield, New Richmond, Menominee, New London, and then Appleton North. And I think we went 5-1. Appleton North was good.
You played the
Real good.
Richmond north of
So
Richmond?
right, big like the biggest hit. Like why can't we take off like that? Why? Maybe
Dude,
we need to say controversial stuff.
I think so. Just when you said Richmond, it made me think of that. So yeah, good for that guy taking off. But no, so give us a little backstory on the tennis thing here, because little update on last week. Obviously, we were deliberating about what we're gonna do. So what's the update on tennis?
Oh, I'm the youngest. So yeah, she came down to the wire. Um, she was still back and forth as of Saturday, really, because she liked to play tennis, and then she came down and she's like, "I am not going to play tennis. I'm going to go for club soccer." Okay. So all of a sudden, they have tryouts on this past Monday, and I how do I say this incorrect? Um, the numbers were down. Like there's 13 girls that made JV, but I only think 13 tried out. JV one. That would be your real JV. Freshmen had good numbers in varsity, um, but with our new Bayport coach, he gave me three strikes. If you miss practice or a game, you get a strike, and after so many, you're off the team. It's
Hmm.
and that's the rules. I think um, so I was wondering, if kids have to make decisions and they didn't choose volleyball, then you lost out on players. And you don't, my thing is you don't know what those players are going to do their junior or senior year. You
Right.
just, you don't know the growth. And so I think that's sad. But all of a sudden I come home from work Monday and I am calling school going, "Hey, change my registration. We're going tennis." So Bayport picked up number 57 on the JV team, Macy.
Well, hey, there you go. Next Serena Williams. It all starts somewhere.
Hey, well, we've got like my older daughter has like seven rackets, so we took one of those and she's got a pair of tennis shoes. So pretty much the greatest thing ever. I paid $25,
Hey, that's a good deal. That's a really good deal.
right? That's what I thought. So, and then she went, of course, being my daughter, she went right to the park Friday night. So I went out to dinner, had a couple cocktails, and on the way back, my wife said, "You should really go play with her." I'm like, "Of course, why not?" So um, I played tennis Friday night. Now I didn't move that fast; I barely moved at all. But I threw balls at her, and she hit them. So,
Comparable to pickleball?
mm, no, no, pickleball is much more defined to a small area.
Hmm.
Where tennis, you have to, a lot more lateral movement, um, and north, south, east, west. And those days are behind me.
Hey, speaking of pickleball,
I mean, they
did
don't have to be.
did you see Charlie Berens did a pickleball video with the Holderness family?
Mm.
Okay, you're gonna have to watch that. Go Google that.
Oh, is that the one with the tournament? With the tournament?
It's so good. So
They're so mad.
if you love
Yeah.
pickleball, go watch that. Look up Charlie Berens and the pickleball. It made me laugh. And I'm not even a pickleball guy, but it was good. It's a good time. So yeah, that's awesome.
A
So
good.
she's diving in. That's good.
Tomorrow's first practice. Varsity kicked off on Tuesday. Um, right now, the as of yesterday, the best tennis player, one of the better tennis players at Bayport had to make a decision. She made varsity volleyball and varsity tennis, and according to the rules, she could do one.
Wow.
So she chose volleyball. So we lost her.
How does that work? How do you make both?
Well, you don't. She last year she was able to play both.
Hmm.
So you try out for volleyball. She was on the tennis team. She's our number one singles player. So she was making tennis. She went to state last year as a sophomore, the number one tennis position. And then now this year with the new rules, she had to choose, and she chose volleyball because that's what she wanted. But it hurts the tennis team.
Who made her choose, the school or the state?
Well, she had to choose.
Oh, gotcha.
Oh, you mean the rules were presented by the tennis coach was all in. Hey, if you can make these 11, I guess there was like 10 matches, and she could make them without a problem.
Okay.
But the volleyball coach kind of put his foot down and said, but from what I was told, now I'm not, this isn't, I wasn't standing in the room, but you have to pick.
Whatever.
And my thing is, what if she chooses tennis, right? If she chooses tennis and she's a really good volleyball player, does then he change his tune because she would have made all volleyball except maybe some practices, and she couldn't play tennis. And she was going to go to state again. She's an excellent tennis player.
Hmm. Yeah, I just don't like that. I don't know. I talked to a coach the other day, really good coach, Hall of Fame coach, actually, at the high school level. And he was telling me about a time, I think he was at Nina. This was a number of years ago, a long time ago. He was down, but it was at a big school. And it wasn't like, Athens or, some small school. And this kid, he had a really good basketball player on his team, and he got to his senior year, and the kid really wanted to wrestle. He'd always wanted to wrestle, and he'd never had a chance. And apparently, he was really good. Like even though he didn't wrestle, he was really talented at it, like state level good at wrestling. And so they worked out his senior year where they let him, miss some basketball practice because he was also a starter and a really good player for them basketball wise to be able to go and wrestle. And they said there were times where he like would do his wrestling match and roll in at halftime and then start playing in the game. And so they really balanced trying to let him do both. And I'm sorry, that's the way it should be. Like this is still high school sports. I don't understand this like you have to pick me or I mean I don't know. It's just weird to me. Like I don't understand why they why they more can't work with the players on this. It's not like they're behind the bleachers smoking. They're trying to do something that's beneficial for them. That's difficult. That's hard to do. Let them figure it out. Let them learn. I don't know. That's just weird to me.
And you get your sports where everybody's like against club or against right. I mean, there's maybe that butts head. But this girl's playing two high school
It's high
sports. Like
school,
she's in the building.
right? Yeah.
It's right. And I'm like, well, you can take your two sport athlete and unless you follow the rules. But my thing was it'll come to a head when somebody says one of the best players on the team, no matter what, like you said, like the really good basketball player. What if he said, you know what, I'm not going to play basketball? All of a sudden, the basketball coach is like, well, we'll make it work.
Right. Yeah.
As the less one's like, we're ready to make it work, and that's what happened here, and that's what sucks.
And full disclosure, we don't know if the volleyball coach did that or what. It's just too bad that yeah, it's just too bad that that's
Yeah,
how it shakes out. So
that a decision has to be made. But
yeah.
on the other hand, we did there's a freshman coming to Bayport that is going to play a high school tennis, and she's top 100 in the country. She's I think number one in the Midwest. She's 14, pretty good.
Wow.
Yeah, she was just at a tournament in California. So,
Jeez.
um, yeah, so that'll help. But it's still, I think we really had a good opportunity as a state team, as a team going to state. So now we got an uphill battle to climb. Um, but yeah,
Yeah,
why
it's not,
sports just are headaches,
yeah.
right? I mean, we talk about sports. We do podcasts about sports. Me and my wife talk about sports a lot, and it's like it used to be. Just I love driving to the park on a Tuesday night, playing some soccer,
Right.
community soccer, grabbing an ice cream, and that's it.
Yeah.
And now our lives are like wrapped around it, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's like things we do, things weekends. I just matched up the Packers schedule with the soccer schedule. I've never done that in my life. I have to choose myself.
Sorry. I shouldn't laugh, but no, I mean, yeah, you're right. And I think that's the challenge of it, right? Yeah, I mean, it's tough for sure. But I was going to give you a hard time there and say that maybe are you guys recruiting tennis players? It sounds like maybe you're starting to pull a page out of the Kimberly playbook. I mean, just a magically one of the
No,
best
she
players
well,
in the country shows up at your door. Suddenly they have a job in the community.
she was she was always going to Bayport. The question is, will she play high school
Ah, okay.
sports,
Okay.
or will she just play a higher
Sure.
level? So um, it was never about Kimberly or about anybody else. It was either us or
Okay.
nobody.
Fair enough.
That's why I put it in my
Okay,
head.
fair enough.
Um, and and the NIL money always. No,
Uh,
trust me, that's the last family that
yeah,
needed NIL.
and
It'd be
Paul
mine.
says, and this is a great point by Paul. Tennis is mainly an individual sport. I don't see why why she can't play both. It's not like she's letting down a team. It's herself, right? I mean, so let her play both. If she can, if you don't have a volleyball conflict, let her play it. Who cares? I don't know.
And technically, I don't even think she needs to practice tennis because she plays when she can. And it's not like, let's be honest, tennis practice is not like soccer practice.
No.
You don't need a team. The team aspect is great. Holy cow, are my eyes really white?
Well, and
Whew. Most of
Okay,
us all
I'll
day.
give you a good example of this. This is very similar because running is a very individualistic sport. Rasheen Willis was a really good example of this. She, I shouldn't say this. I guess I don't know for sure, but I did not see her at a lot of the practices. I think she did come to some of the practices, but she didn't always come to the practices. But she showed up at the events and kicked the crap out of everybody, and it didn't matter. So it's like if you in an individual sport, I mean, yeah, the team thing is good. You want to be able to bond, but if a player is like doing some things above and beyond everybody else, um, God bless them. Let them do their thing. By the way, just saw Rasheen the other day. She stopped by the ice cream truck, doing well. She's excellent. Good to see her. Wish her the best at
Fan
Stanford.
fan of the
Yeah.
show.
So,
Yeah, where she's running.
but anyways, yeah. I don't know. In an individual sport, I mean, let the kid let the kid live out her life.
Let me ask this: she's the one that races all over the world,
Yeah.
right? Or she's
Yeah. She's really
phenomenal.
good.
So what is she going to do when she comes to Spash High School and she runs practice? Do you think the Spash coach should be like, "Hey, hmm, your form is questionable. I want you to do this," right?
Right.
There's going to be a coach coming out of the woods like shooting that guy. Like they're like, "No, don't
Right.
talk to her."
Pretty much.
So you just take the you just she wears Spash, everybody loves her, then you move on. It's kind of the same as
She shows up
tennis.
at state and basically laps people in an 800. I mean, it's like, she's really good.
Right. And then on my news channel, I'm like, holy crap, a girl from Spass just broke every
Yeah.
record in America. I'm like, Spass sports are
What
amazing.
can we say? But no, yeah, I mean, so that's the point. Paul's point. That's a great take on it. Is it's an individual sport. It should give a little more leeway. It's not like you're saying, "Hey, I want to play boys soccer, and then I also want to play football." Right? That's a little tougher because you got to be out there in the team. And we actually had a guy last year that tried to do that because he wanted to be a kicker on the football team. So he would just show up, do like kicking for a little bit, and then leave. And it just didn't work out. It was just tough to do when you're doing two team sport. It's really tough to do. And yeah, that I can understand a little bit more because you got to commit one to the other. But some of these individual sports, come on, we can make that work. So yeah,
Well, well, what I talked to the AD just because he was at a tennis match. We were just shooting the breeze. And I did say it'd be interesting to see how the numbers go. Because if the numbers fall, then something, then you got to
yeah,
change because you can't, it's high school.
yeah,
You need
that's for sure.
numbers. I did find out today there's 192 football players at Bayport High School.
What?
Freshman, JV, and senior, 192 players signed up for football.
Hey, good, good. That's awesome. That means the program's alive and well.
It's it's because football is a dying sport, right? They talk about football as with all the injuries that parents are moving away from them, but evidently the machine is still
Hey, that's
clicking.
good. I mean, and leading into we got first football games this Friday. That's really good to hear. I mean, right now for Spash, I want to say we're north of 100, but it's not 192. But the one thing I will say is we are getting our numbers up in the youth program. I just came from practice, head coach right here, by the way. So you of the
Sports.
third and fourth grade team, sheriffs, we're going to take it. So we got really good numbers. Our numbers have gone up 2 years in a row at youth. So I'm hoping that's going to increase at the high school level, but because that's where it all starts. But yeah, that's a really good number, 192. I mean, that means you probably have two freshmen and probably a JV three or a JV. I mean, you might have like four JV
Yeah,
teams.
I what do you need? 30, 35 kids?
Yeah, you're dang near it.
Two freshmen, two JV, and in a fully loaded
Yeah, I mean that's
varsity.
that's awesome. So that's really cool. Good for Bayport.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who's the first game again? Okay,
Middleton tomorrow night at
awesome. And I
Bayport.
saw that.
I did hear they're gonna.
I was going to say Colleen
Oh,
said
go ahead.
Appleton North plays. Is that Southwest? Okay,
Southwest, yeah. Her son is the quarterback, senior year quarterback. So we wish Caleb
okay,
the best at Southwest.
yes,
Go Trojans.
go Trojans. Hey, that's where my nephew and niece go to, or nephew went and niece goes to Southwest. Yeah, so
All
there you
right.
go.
Yeah. Um. So that'll. You know what I did see on the news? They're having a ref. Well, they they have a ref shortage, so they're actually moving to some weekday games,
Hmm.
Thursday night games, um, to help with that problem. So everybody doesn't play on Friday night because they don't have enough refs.
Is it just they don't have enough eyeglasses, or what's going on?
Well, everybody bitches about them, but God, they're blind.
We love refs. We need to support them. Get some refs out there.
I just
That's terrible. Yeah,
the good ones.
we apologize. But seriously, you need to become a ref. So go out there and help out our refs. We need all the help we can get because that is a real problem. I know we ran into that multiple times last year for Spash, where the game was like on the razor's edge of are we going to play or not going to play because we don't know if we have refs, and then like last minute you get a ref. So yeah, that's a real problem. I think the Thursday thing also comes into play as school year, like right before the school year. It's kind of nice just to mix it up a little bit, and you can throw those in a little easier. So that's good. Yeah, I like it.
Right? Yeah, why not? And if it's two local teams, you could probably play Thursday nights. But if you're going to travel, I think we got Kimberly in the first couple games, so we got ourselves. We'll
Yeah, game
test
number
out the
two.
waters.
And their game got
Second game.
canceled because somebody bailed on them. So there you go, man. You're the first one they're gonna be ready for.
It's when you want them,
That's right.
fresh.
Untested. Right. So good luck. So yeah, lots of cool stuff. I mean, sports are going great. All I know, a lot of this. I think everything is officially in season now for fall. So
Yeah, yeah. And our soccer team kicks off. Got a little scrimmage tomorrow night. Then we got a couple of friendlies Saturday. Another scrimmage next
mhm.
Tuesday, and then when do we fire up?
I'm already
Oh, the
fired up.
Patriot Cup, the tournament. I still need to get fired up. So if we can get a let's get fired up chant, that'd be great. Um, but then the Patriot Cup Labor Day
Yeah.
weekend.
Okay. Yeah, that'll be good.
Hey, here's a question. I'll give you my opinion, but what do you think of the Labor Day tournament?
Dude, I understand why they do it because people are off, but it just kind of stinks that now it doesn't matter what holiday weekend you're on, they're trying to jam something into it. I was in an AD meeting the other day, and they were talking about having trouble finding games over Christmas break for basketball because for our basketball tournament, which has gone on for a number of decades, the Century Classic. And they're like, well, we can't find any now because so many people have tournaments over Christmas break because everybody's off and they know they can start their own tournament, so then they don't go to anybody else's. So I think there's just this constant, it's like, hey, people, we know people are off. Let's schedule something. There's no regard for like, hey, let's have some family time.
Oh,
Crazy.
whoa, family time. Family time's on Tuesday night at six to
6 to
seven.
6:45.
But here's my take. Right. My take is this. Labor Day is a tough holiday because school starts. So my wife being a teacher, she's always pretty much, dialing it in the last few days. The kids are all like, school sucks. I don't want to go back. So we just sit around and stare at each other because we don't that's a 3-day week and we don't do anything much. So I like it. Gives us something to do. Hopefully the times are decent. If the weather's decent, at least
Yeah,
there's
that's
something to
fair.
do.
I don't have really a problem with it. I'm just giving my cynical take on it. So yeah, it's fine. Whatever. I mean, the reality is we sign up for half this stuff anyway, so we have nobody to blame but ourselves and Jamie. I mean, if Jamie's listening, we have her to blame. We always blame Jamie. It doesn't matter.
It's like her pen never stops. Sign up, sign up, sign up, sign
I'm
up,
in her
sign up. Here you
doghouse
go.
again because I'm always so late to commit to everything. She's always like, we're waiting on you. It's like, dang it. Sorry, Jamie. I apologize.
So last time we talked, you asked me a question about Detroit, and I gotta confess something. That Macy is going to Detroit. I am not going to
Ah,
Detroit.
actually, there's still a question I might not be either.
I got the so we have a wedding, and my wife asked me to go to the wedding, and I said absolutely, because
I thought
Detroit's a
this wedding was
long
a
ways
no-go
away.
for sure. I thought that's what you said.
things change. Things change. Um, but then I weighed the pros and
And you
cons, and I did
and
the
you
I
really
did
love
the
these
unthinkable.
people, so you were going to go.
Well, I love my wife, right?
Well, they
I mean
might be
that's
watching. So.
so I am. So I bought Macy a plane ticket. I jumped the shark, jumped the rabbit hole, jumped the shark. We are now
Awesome.
there.
So she might need a ride.
Nope, nope, all covered because she's flying with
Oh,
teammates and family, Jamie. Um, so that's what made it well. I will say that by me not going and Jackie not going, we saved ourselves hundreds of dollars. So we came out ahead
I'm
on
not
that.
going to lie.
So plus
I said the same
she's
thing for Orlando. I'm like, what if we just send Amelia? She's 15.
well, we said the same thing. So what if we let's just send the team? Be like, good luck.
Yeah,
You're old enough.
you're Coach Drew.
Like, there's got to be a driver now,
Let's
right? I mean,
rent him a bus,
can't be that
rent him a
hard.
big
You're
van. We're
old.
done.
So um, yeah, I so we'll see how this all goes. She excited to fly, I guess. So let's
Okay.
hope
Well, that's
it
good.
goes
I
well.
like that. I like it. Well, I'm bummed that you're not going to be there. If I am there, we'll just have to trudge on without you. I'll have to find somebody to fill your loafers.
Can't be that hard. Anybody, anybody that doesn't know soccer and doesn't pay attention.
Right. Well, now we have
So
those little sheets, those little guides. We're good.
still haven't read them. Nope, don't care.
I like it.
But
All right.
but
Trying to remember what. Yeah, what were some of the
oh,
other
I want
things
to
we were
bring
going to
this
talk
up
about?
because if Greg is listening, so one of the things that really bothered me this week, and I'm hoping Greg is listening. I hope all Kimberly Land is listening because Quick Trip gives away big prize, right? And every day on their app, you can go and you can scratch the little thing with your finger, and you get a ticket for the I don't know. I
Huh.
did it a few times. I don't know why. And it was for a Bennington pontoon boat. She was nice, and you know who won? A lady from Kimberly. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me! Like what? Like anybody else? Like even Amherst?
Even
Why
Amherst.
Kimberly? Like this is you can't do this to me. Oh, what's her name? I don't know her last name. That's fine. Oh, right here, Diane B from Kimberly.
Hey, rich
So
get
mad,
richer, baby.
so mad. Right? I wonder if she's going to give it to a football player to come
If you
play.
see a young kid out on the lake now, you know.
A brand new Quick Trip Bennington pontoon boat. I wish I was better at sports.
Sorry, man.
But we were going to dive into the recruiting a little bit. We both kind of read some things and kind of where we're going now, and because now we start our. Is this our big season or is our junior year big season? Paul knows more about this, but you can't talk to colleges till
Yep.
June 15th or June 16th after your sophomore year. So we are starting our sophomore year, our daughters, and by the end of it, they'll be able to talk to players. So is this the year you start
Well, I
to
would say that
fire it up?
obviously, since they can't talk to you, I think your junior year would be considered probably the biggest. But where you start putting yourself on the map, I think, is your sophomore year. I mean, you're going to get some awareness your sophomore year, then you're going to then use your junior season to really drive that home that you belong. To me, it kind of equates to like your junior years where you in footballs where you get noticed, and then senior years where you lock it up. I mean, that's to me that's kind of how I'd equate it. Now, I'd be open to whatever anybody else says. Paul says June 15th after sophomore year, big year for D1, and then it goes to your junior year. So yeah, basically same idea, right? You get noticed your sophomore year. So yeah, that's
Because girls' sports, they sign your junior year. Boys' sports, a lot of them sign your senior year based on
Right.
timing of
And
your
that's just
sport.
because it switches from a spring sport to a fall sport, right? That's what, basically for girls. That's how I understood it.
Right,
So,
right. And there's a book, there's an author out there, Coach Renee Lopez. I think I've talked about on here, but I've tried to get her on the podcast because we need 100 of these bad boys. So I'll let her know we're at 35, just to keep in touch. Um, Maybe she'll break the mold and come on back. But he tweeted out the other day that most college coaches are not chasing high school games. Clubs will give you more exposure, but recruiting is not about being on a certain team. It is about how you market yourself. If you do not play club, definitely make sure you go to camps and guest play for another team. I thought that was interesting because that guest play now has come up a few times in my conversations with people, that people are stopping looking at maybe playing club your senior year if you're not quite getting a look, and using that money to go to camps, to go to guest play on tournament teams, um,
hmm.
and try to get noticed that way.
So if I'm understanding what you're saying, you don't play any club then senior year. You just reach out to prominent clubs, like maybe like an ECNL or a WC whatever, and just like find the best teams and see if you can guest play.
Something of that nature. And Paul would probably test this more because he housed a Green Bay Glory girl that in the soccer program up here. She's played at college and college. She
Oh,
came
Genza,
out. Oh,
yeah,
Abby, you know Abby. Um, Gemza. She didn't really have a look coming out of Spash, so she ended up playing in a tournament. And I don't want to speak out of line if I have my facts wrong, but I think guest playing in Vegas in a tournament, and she came out with a 10 looks, and she ended up
hmm.
a ride that. So there's a whole bunch of different ways. It doesn't always mean that if your club doesn't go somewhere, because then I truly believe with Twitter, with YouTube, and all this, you create a hype. Look at
Yeah,
young Gronk or whatever the heck his name was. I mean, the hype he came in with, what his dad
hmm.
did, was unbelievable. Yeah, Paul said Vegas. She went to Vegas, and he's got the views she needed, and it paid off for her. Now I feel terrible. She just tore her second
Oh,
ACL
really?
in her hamstring.
Yeah, she's
She
at
just
Utah
transferred to
Valley.
Utah. They were in Hawaii, I think, playing.
Ah,
Yeah, she tore her ACL for a second
that's
time and her
terrible.
hamstring. Oh, yeah. So that sucks because this is what you want to do, and then it's kind of shot in the butt. But so there's multiple ways, and that's why I'm trying to get this coach Renee on to talk about the recruiting process, um,
Hmm.
in that avenue, because I think there's a lot more. People talk about, you need to do this, you need to do ECNL, or you need to do this. Um, for a lot of our girls, we'll go over to St. Croix in January, I think. And now our age group gets to go, and there'll be maybe 10 to 15 local Wisconsin, Minnesota, Michigan colleges there. And
Yeah,
that's where a lot of our girls will get looks. We'll do the Indiana showcase in Indianapolis, and that's maybe a little broader reach. But how far are our daughters willing to travel to go to school? That's the question. Some want to go and
right,
never come home,
right.
and some will stay close to
Yeah,
home.
more of like a Senna Haynes, or she wants to stay Wisconsin or something along those lines. Yeah, um, I think when
Right?
it comes down, I've put some time into this, and I see what some have done. And you bring up a good point. I think that you have to put in, and when I say you, I mean the player has to put in their effort into building some type of an online profile. It's just, even if you don't like social media, it's kind of the way that it works today. You kind of have to have some type of an online presence to be able to reach out to coaches, to be able to do some self promotion. Which I've never liked self promotion, but it is what it is. It's kind of like your own LinkedIn profile for your athletic career. You have to put some time into it, and you need to start establishing that, because that sometimes takes time for that to build up followers or build up people that are in your timeline. You can't just turn that on June 15th of next year. You've got to put some time into it to start building that, and I've seen a number of our girls have done that. And so I think that's excellent, because if you really have aspirations to play at the next level, I think you're going to need to do that. I see Emily Urban does it. I saw Kennedy does it. I've seen a number of other girls put some time into it, which I think is excellent because if you have aspirations, you're going to have to get out there and kind of do some self promotion, and it's just the way that it goes. So I like that. I think it's going to be really crucial for them to be able to start putting some game film together, and then also you're going to have to start deciding which sports you're going to play as well. I mean, if they don't know, because the problem with some of these girls, they're really good at multiple sports. It's just, so they're going to have to decide like where they want to go to college, what do they want to play. I think some people told me you should target a few schools that you're really interested in. Try to reach out to coaches on that team, get them to follow you back, get them to hopefully interact with you. But if you can get them at least to follow you back, then you start tagging them every time you make a post. Like if you put a highlight video up, you tag them so that they hopefully are starting to see it. The other thing that a lot of people don't think about, but I think it's worth thinking about, is maybe you pay that little bit of extra money now on Twitter or X or whatever it's called to become verified. Because one of the things about being verified is it puts you to the top of so when you post something, you're more likely to be noticed. So maybe you invest a little bit of money. I think that's $120 a year or whatever it is, 115, to actually, when you post something, you have more validity behind your name because you get the little blue check mark. That blue check mark used to mean you were famous. Now it just means you paid. And so if you pay, your comments go higher. If you tag somebody, you get noticed. You go up in their feed by being verified. So I could see people starting, and I've seen a couple of athletes. I saw one the other day that I was just scrolling through on College Soccer Truth, and you see some of the athletes are now verified. They're thinking the same thing. They're like, I want to get my name higher on the list, so when I tag somebody, it gets noticed. So I'm not going to be surprised to start to see a lot more athletes make that plunge. I mean, $115 a year is not that much when you start thinking about NCSA and you start talking about all the money we pay for games and tournaments and all this stuff. $115 is kind of chump change if you can get you a little bit of chance to get noticed by somebody maybe in a geographic area that you're not familiar with. So I don't know. I think those are some of the things that people can work on.
Have
Yes,
you looked
Amelia
at
has an
NCSA?
account, and I turned it over to her and let her run it. I had not paid anything for it. We're on the free plan, and the dude, like, we just signed up for it like a couple weeks ago, and the guy is relentless. He just keeps calling, like, I want to talk to you. I want to talk to you. Like, dude, man, just pump the brakes. We're not paying money for this yet. I mean, maybe down the road, but I do think that it's a nice platform. I think it gives you some good options. I think it's probably worth the money at some point. I just am not ready to plunk down anything yet. You?
So when we well, yeah, Macy does have a camp page. We got it through the Math Rock soccer, and she said to try it out. And no pressure to pay, and if we
Yeah.
want to down the road, we can pay. So we'll see the benefit of it. At the UW Milwaukee camp, a Division I soccer camp, the coach flat out said, because I asked, I said, "What is the benefit of for you guys of NCSA?" And he said flat out, we have a budget that we can recruit from, so we don't rely on NCSA. He said it's more for your Division II, Division III schools, which budgets
Hmm.
are a lot smaller.
Yeah.
They can broader
Huh.
reach. I thought that was interesting because everybody that I know,
Yeah. Yeah.
is it Ballman over by you? She's got an excellent. I've kind of me and Macy have looked at that a lot, kind of how to set hers up and what kind of videos is she posting. So I don't know. I think at the higher levels, you're at camps, your ID camps. Are they seeing you? If you start to need to go to, and I told Macy this, we have to start picking camps. If she wants to play college, we have to start
Correct.
picking ID
Yeah.
camps where she wants to go to school. Uh, we did the Stevens Point camp this past Saturday.
Big
I mean,
fan.
it was soccer, big yeah, and it just they didn't generate. We had 13 kids, so um, it was tough to, they had plans of playing 8v8 and then 11v11, and it didn't materialize. But I don't know if Macy even if she
Hmm.
goes to D3,
Yeah.
will she play D3 soccer? That's up to her. But it was very interesting how people recruit that way, and that's where this National Pro League comes in, right? You spend the money to go down. And are you getting recruited? But are you getting recruited in the right area of the country? I mean, it's in the
Hmm.
southeast, right, down in Orlando. So if you want to stay around home, does that make sense to go down there
Right, right.
and try to get seen down there? I mean, our colleges around here besides Madison are not going to National Pro League, I'm
Hmm.
assuming.
Yeah,
So I don't know the game. The game is very interesting to me. I always just thought, at some point, if you're good enough, they call you and they're like, "We'd love to have you," but it seems like there's a million of them. The soccer coach in Milwaukee said, even if they really want you, if you send them an email thanking them and you put the wrong school or the wrong
right.
coach's name because you did like a mass email, they'll take you off your list. Unless you're amazed, like unless you're the number one recruit, they will drop you like a bad habit. They're like, we're done.
Yeah,
Thanks for nothing. Because there's that
yeah.
many kids that are looking
That
to
makes
play
sense.
college
I mean, I,
sports.
I understand why they're looking for people that are more genuine, not just blasting out to everybody. So yeah, you make a good point though, and that's one area that we have
Yeah.
not done really anything with is the ID camps. I mean, the only ID camps that she's been to, Amelia, has been the ones that were like ODP or otherwise, and I don't think those are really they're not beneficial from that perspective, in my opinion. I know there are some college coaches there, but it's not really. But we need to do a better job of. We talked about that. We're going to do Wisconsin next year. We're going to do probably 3 or 4 different ID camps in the summer, just because I do think those are going to be beneficial. I do think it's good to go where you have interest at least, and even some D3, D2 schools just to see kind of you know what it's like at each one.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see where everything lines up, and time's coming fast. But these kids change your mind
Yeah,
too. I mean, what bet if you know? You look at your girls that start your team when you're at this age, and as you grow, teams change and people fade away. They do other things. They find other
yep.
interests, and
No,
that's
and
okay
that's
too.
I think I told you this. I mentioned it last week. It's like that's where, as much as we love the Loons, and you love the team you're always on, every year it changes, and you never know. And any team I've ever been on, you always know that at the end of that season, the next year might look totally different, and that's just the human nature of everything. That people move on, people do different things. You got to be aware of that. I mean, it's just that's part of the game of sport is every season is different. Doesn't matter what sport you play or what level.
Yeah, and our soccer team took on, I think, 35 to 40% of the girls are new. So we will see. We saw a lot of
Yep.
changes in the last 2 weeks, and we'll see a lot more. We'll see how that fares. We'll see what that ends up. Right? I'm not discussing. I don't know anything to discuss right now.
Yeah.
So hopefully things pan out. But change is hard. Change is always difficult, and it's something you
Yeah.
learn, but it doesn't make it easy.
Back to what you were talking about. I thought this was interesting. It kind of ties into what you were discussing with your, what was the lady's name again? Renee Lopez. Okay, so I follow
Coach
this
Renee
account on
Lopez.
on X now, which is now formerly Twitter, College Soccer Truth, and it's at I am College Soccer, and I just find their Twitter really interesting because they basically throw out all these tips like if you want to go to D1 or D2 or whatever level, they always are throwing you out like what a recruiter is thinking, what a college is thinking, and one that they just posted a couple days ago actually. That was shoot, what's the date today? It was today. Well, shoot. So this is very relevant. But anyways, it made me think of this. It says, why would you go to D1 soccer? It's the best. Why would you go to D2 soccer? Good soccer with a balance of athletics and academics. D3 soccer, you play soccer at an amazing degree in student life. NAIA is athletic scholarships and an opportunity to play. And why would you go to JUCO? Play soccer, develop, save money, and then transfer in. Obviously because you can transfer now so much easier. So, basically what they're saying is, and they go on to talk about is you got to figure out what your why is. Why are you doing it? And I think that's really important it's hard for the girls and the young people at this time to think about that. But like, what is it you want to take out of it? Do you just like playing because you're around a bunch of other girls? Man, I was talking to somebody the other day and he said, I would never wish anybody to go to D1, D1 athletics. They said it's a total grind. But the reality of that is, and this is what I pushed back to him was some people actually like that. he's like, they control your life. They control what you eat. They control when you sleep. They control when you work out. They control what classes you go to. They literally control your life. But some people kind of like that. They just do. They like playing at the highest level for whatever sport it is. They like the structure, right? That's just something that they get into. So that to me, if just because that's the way D1 is, doesn't necessarily mean people shouldn't do it. It's just you need to know that going into it. That's a totally different mindset than if you were going to go play D1. It's a little looser, not as intense. Still good players, still competitive, but it's just a little bit lower key than maybe a D1 is. So I don't know. I just think you need to think about what level do you want to be at. Do you want to have your life controlled? Okay, well D1 might work for you. If not, maybe D2 because it's still really good soccer. You can still get a scholarship. You can still get a good education. Ticks every box, right?
Well, you talk about D1 being a grind, but you also get the benefits of the grind. I mean, I knew a friend of ours. He was a coach, and actually, he took in a young man, and through basketball, he got a D1 scholarship at Marquette. You're talking
Yep.
private chefs, private jets, college paid for, everything paid for. So the grind is that, but that's the benefit. Now you throw in NIL money, it's a different avenue. But I mean, I don't know. If when D3, when you're driving a bus from Eau Claire to Bemidji in the middle of winter versus North Carolina, where you're taking the North Carolina jet and
Yep.
you're flying off to Duke, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Oh, for sure. Oh, the
there's some
other
perks
thing,
to the grind.
I tried to like pump the brakes on Amelia. I don't know about your daughter, but I don't buy a lot of stuff for my daughter when it comes to like apparel. I mean, I try to limit it. We do a little, but it's not crazy. But she saw they do these videos on reels of like it was the first day of women's soccer for I think it was North Carolina or whoever it was. It was a D1 school, right? D1 school, and they like went into their locker rooms to see what they were getting, and the swag bags are unbelievable. I mean, we're talking. I mean, granted, when I played college soccer, I got sweatshirt, sweatpants, shorts, t-shirt. You got some good stuff, and you were pretty pumped about it. These people are getting. They got cleats, they get shoes, they get shorts, they get shirts, and not just one pair. We're talking multiple pairs of like primo kicks from Nike. I mean, everything is like top of the line. And she's like, look at all this stuff. I'm like, whoa, but that's the reality, right? That's a perk, right? I talked to, some people that had people in D1 basketball. They're like, yeah, you get a private chef. They'll literally tell you this is what you need to eat. The dude makes it up for you or the lady, and life is good, right? You don't have to ever want. You just kind of walk up like, yeah, this is what I need. So yeah, there's some sweet perks to it. For sure. And that's why I think some people are totally fine with that sacrifice of I'm willing to let them have control over me to get all these other things. That's why everybody wants to do it. I mean, that's the reality.
Absolutely, and the free education for some people is everything. That's how their
And you get to
family's
play
going
at
to
the highest level.
put you through debt free. But UW Madison, right? And most of
Correct.
those people have aspirations of playing on farther on.
Yeah.
So the goal is now to play professional. UW Madison, they had when we got the campus tour of their indoor facility, they had a room with smoothies, and they had an app or something. You just I would like this, and then you walk in, you
That
pick it up,
sounds awesome.
free. I'm like, that is awesome, right? Now if they had like a Coors Light button, they'd be like, I want a Coors Light. But the football locker room at Madison was like you walk, and we didn't get to go in it, but you could see down the hallway. Like every any player that went to
Hmm.
Wisconsin, they had their name on this beautiful board that played the NFL. And then they had their Hall of Fame, and then they have these doors, glass doors that open, and it's just this big W on the sea. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And this girls' soccer team was all excited because they got the leftover lockers
Which were
from
probably
boys'
amazing.
football. They're like, I've never had lockers this nice, right? So I mean, you look at NMU, Northern Michigan University, they just put a ton of money in their football locker rooms. Because if colleges understand today that to grow
Yeah.
your college, right, you need sports. You need decent sports. so they're investing in sports. So they have all that when you walk in. Like it's like the Wildcat. It's
Yeah,
the pictures of
unreal.
locker rooms today are
And like
phenomenal.
I will say, that was one thing I noticed when she was watching this unboxing video or
So
whatever of their. This was a girls' soccer team, and hell, their locker room was top notch. th- granted, I know the guys' locker rooms tend to be a little bit nicer. Not the guys, but the football specifically tend to be nicer because they are the ones that generate all the money. But this locker room was pretty dang nice too. Pretty dang nice.
right, yeah. And now that's tracking down to high schools. I mean, high schools are spending the money on not only their weight rooms but their locker rooms, and kids go there and let's be honest, kids still choose schools,
Hmm.
even though it's a little more difficult for some, but based on the football stadium, based on the locker room, based on the weight room. Our weight room at Bayroom was Bayport was privately funded by the gentleman that wanted it, and it was I think it's like a $900,000 weight room.
Yeah,
It's
and
better than any
some high
D1
schools
program I've
they
ever
even get
seen.
pontoon boats too. That's what I heard.
Some, like one, but it's a nice
That's all
pontoon boat.
rumor. We don't know that's true.
They've been awesome.
Rumors, salacious
Rumors,
rumors.
right? So I think the recruiting talk can go on forever. But I really like. I know we had Mackenzie on, and she talked about how it's kind of out of the whim that he went to an Arizona camp, and they called her and like, we want you back. So she went up in Arizona. It'd be great to have some other
Yeah,
college people
agreed.
on to
I
see
think that
how
would be
they
a good
really
one.
got recruited.
Yeah, cool.
But me con me contacting college ladies
Okay,
never goes over well, so I'll
I'll
leave that
let you
up to
know
you.
how that goes. Uh, I should
Why
mention
does
for
he
those
keep
of you
calling
that
me?
are watching this live or on YouTube or on Facebook, we had some issue with our podcast last week. That's why it never went out onto Google Podcasts or anywhere else. So that will be up soon. I apparently my computer screwed up, so we will get that up fairly soon. So apologies on that. I just thought of that now. I should have started the show with that, but um, yeah, apologies if you couldn't find us. It will go up there very shortly along with this one, as long as this week actually works correctly.
Why are we stuck at 78 followers on Facebook? All these people are using us and watching us for free, right? We're not charging anything. Our subscription system is broke. We can't even get a follow. That's how we generate dollars in this business. A lot of you don't know the business like we do. We need followers. If we get to, I'm saying 60,000,
Well, to be fair,
right?
I did
I
not
mean,
tell
we're
you
at
this, but we
78.
did get reached out about advertising on our Facebook page. But I'm fairly confident that it was a scam because my Blue Barn Scoops email got hit with the exact same email from a different name and the same grammatical errors. And I was like, yeah, that's probably not legit if everybody's getting spammed. So
They got it didn't
they're
come to
like,
me because
we
I'd have
want
been
you
like,
to
hell
represent
yes.
reputable program. And like, but then the decimals and stuff were like, they were saying they were going to pay us like $400 a plug, and I'm like, for a day. And I'm like, I'll plug that. I'll plug everything under the sun for that. We'll be millionaires here shortly. But I don't. Yeah, I don't think it was legit. So
Okay, well, that's why you're in charge of marketing
speaking of
and
podcasts, though,
operations and all of it.
I was
So,
on a podcast as a guest this week.
you cheater,
I know. So I
you
got
cheater, you
I worked the
son
Blue
of a.
Barn for somebody, and he has a podcast here in Stevens Point, and he brought me onto his show, and we talked for like 20 minutes about Spash for a little bit, but then we talked about boot ice cream for the rest of it. So it was a good time. Yeah, so I'll have to share that out. You'll have to watch. Yeah, I was actually interviewed. We'll see how I did. Yeah.
pretty cool. That is fantastic. I'm thinking about trying to maybe make this into a TikTok page, but I got to talk to my daughter on how to do it and just put out some of our better moments in our 35 episodes. 'Cause I think we could
Dude,
generate
I thought about doing that too
generate
for
some
like
real love.
reels and stuff, and it's my fault because I have not put the time into clipping little. I did like one, and then that story where you told about your friend having to wear pink underwear. Um, which, if you have not seen that episode, what is that, episode two? I think that was a that that's a good
Yeah,
one.
pink panty
But
drills.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
episode two.
yeah, I think it would be great if you can do it. If you figure out a way to do it easily, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. No, I just have to sit down with one of my kids and have them show me because I don't know what I'm doing.
It's fair.
But we'll see. Oh, well, I think I have to cut her my daughter leaves at 4:30 in
Holy
the morning
buckets.
tomorrow for Cincinnati for the Southern Open. So Bayport Varsity Tennis does a trip every year, and so they take two vehicles and they head off to Cincinnati. They do the Southern Open, which is in Cincinnati. So
Nice.
I haven't figured out where Northern is, but yeah, they get to go to the professional tournament. They play some tennis there, and they'll be back Saturday night. So I gotta be the taxi cab at 4:30 in the morning to get her to
Wow.
the
Well, good luck. Yeah,
University
you
of
got to get your
Bayport,
beauty
and
sleep
so she
for
can go.
sure. I mean, that just doesn't happen right there.
No, no, this doesn't happen overnight. I mean, it could, but it
I
really
need
would
all the
give me
sleep
the
I can
night.
get. Yeah, I don't know about you, man, but I struggle to even get past like 7 hours. I just can't do it. I wake up with pain. My back hurts and I can't sleep. It's terrible. I'm gonna die young.
I go in. Oh yeah, no, I'm already halfway. I'm more than half, but I go on this like right now. I'm on a pattern where at 4 a.m. I
Yeah.
wake up. Hmm, I'm up.
You should work out.
Don't know what to do. Yeah, so I stare. Then I look at my phone, and then I'm like, oh, then I turn the
Yeah,
lights on.
but
Hmm,
I
that
mean,
ain't happening. If I got up at 4 a.m. and my wife's like, "Where are you going?" I'm like, "Going to the Y." She would be like, "Oh, who are you?" And I'd be like,
no,
"I'm just gonna go sit in the hot
she
tub.
should
It's
just
not like
wake
I'm
up to the
doing
sound of
anything."
you like doing push-ups and sit-ups. She'll flip the lights on, you'll just be a sweaty mess right there, just all she'll love it. And you're just getting
You want wake? You want to wake up to me doing push-ups and sit-ups? Let's be honest. The noises that I make, I'm sure are not like, "Wow, this is great."
she'll think
It
you're
would
having a
be.
heart attack. It'd be good.
She'll probably go back to bed with peace, smile on her face. And she'll wake up. She's like, "What are you doing up?"
Exactly.
Or
I
alive.
think
I mean,
you
up.
should do this. All right. Sounds good. Well, you get your rest. It was a good time. We'll save on the overrated, underrated, or no, the unpopular opinion for next week. That'll be good. Sounds good.
Yeah, I'll come up with a couple. That'd be great.
All right, man. Everybody, have a good night. Toby,
All right,
till
sir.
next time.
Till next time. We freeing. Yeah, we are clear.